Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you for joining me on the mat today. And I say that because what you cannot see is that I just got finished teaching a class. I am on my yoga mat and I am now having my coffee and my breakfast, and so thank you for being here with me today. As you can tell from the title, I just wanted to have a little chat with you guys because as a parent and as someone who has worked with families and children for a very long time, this topic kind of comes up a lot, but not in a specific way, right? You hear a lot of parents and teachers like whispering, talking about parents who have children who misbehave and who are angry. And so I wanted to do a video to educate and to help you in your supporting of your friends who might have children who have behavior issues, anxiety, or anger management issues. Because honestly, those kids, I wouldn't say that they're the forgotten kids because we notice them the most, but or as overt as their behaviors are, they're the kids who get the most whispers, right? They're the kids whose behaviors you can see, and so they tend to get a lot of flack for their behaviors, and their parents tend to get a lot of looks, and so I want to help you in being a support to them in the most productive way possible. So today we're just going to talk about 3 ways that you can help support your friend, a mom that you run into or meet, or if you're a teacher, a parent that you work with whose child has behavior issues or who is struggling with anger management problems. So the first thing to remember is probably the most important thing to remember, and that is that anger is a secondary emotion. So I know that it is difficult to see anger in a child or to see a child really being upset or agitated and to think to yourself, to automatically jump to what do they really want or what do they really need. But it's so important that in supporting a parent who has a child that has anger management issues, that we are able to go there. Because even though the parent might not be able to go there yet, if we are able to go there, then it takes away this energy that we send towards parents when we see a child misbehaving, and it immediately kind of becomes awkward, right? Like it gets a little bit awkward. You feel uncomfortable for whatever the reason, right? Either you're annoyed that the child is acting in this way, you're embarrassed for the parent because the child is acting this way, you want to jump in and step in and do something. But it's important that we understand what we're seeing so that it takes that energy away from it, and it really does lift the pressure off of the parent to perform or to feel like they have to do something extreme in the moment to make their child behave, right? Or to make their child de-escalate or calm down. So that is probably one of the most important things. Why I didn't tell me I had a charger in the frame. What kind of friends are you guys? So these next 2, I feel like probably should be common sense, but are not common sense to everybody. And that's okay, because a lot of people really just don't know. It's in our nature to want to help. And some of that comes just with how we're built, right? But it doesn't help a parent who is dealing with a child who has anger management issues. Now, and these next 2 apply to whether or not you are talking to a parent and they're expressing themselves to you about their children, or whether you're with someone in the moment when their child is having an anger outburst. So I'm going to call these 2 Miss Me with the blank. Okay? So first, miss me with the judgment. Okay? That's what a person who has a child with anger management issues is thinking when they can feel, see, and hear you judging them. Miss me with the judgment. They don't need it. No judging allowed, okay? You don't know the circumstances surrounding that child's behavior. You don't know the circumstances surrounding that situation, right? Whether you're a close friend or whether you are just an observer walking on the street, whether or not you're a teacher, you don't know all of the details, right? No one ever knows all of the details like the person who's in it, right? So the judgment is not needed, and it's also not helpful is what's really important about this one. It's not helpful at all. What it does do is create this tension around the child and the parent, and the parents can start to become and feel anxious that, again, they have to do something in the moment. When their child becomes angry, then their anxiety becomes heightened and they become flustered, maybe when techniques that they're trying aren't working or what they're doing is not working. That elevates the tension and then the anxiety around the kid. And if the mom doesn't know why the child is behaving this way, if they don't know the root cause, because remember, anger is a symptom, it's a secondary emotion. So if they don't know the root cause of this anger, you're only heightening their uncertainty, right, to parent their child. And that's not for you to judge. It's not your place. It's not your place, okay? So just leave it, leave it, leave it. And if you can't leave it, then really have an open and honest conversation with the parent in your life about how the conversations should go between you guys. If you can't handle hearing stories about your child, or if you can't handle being around that child without getting super judgy, then maybe it's time to evaluate your relationship with that mom, because that child is going to be a part of her life, right? And the judgment doesn't deserve space there. She deserves support. So with that being said, we get to number 3. Miss me with the unwanted advice. And believe it or not, this goes hand in hand with the no judgment, because what's the first thing you want to do, right? When you start judging, you're like, okay, well, I just don't want to, those of us with the best intentions, right? We're not just going to judge. We're going to think, okay, well, I just don't want to sit here and judge.
I have to do something. I have to advise them. I have to help them because their child should not be acting like this. This is unacceptable.
And whether or not the behavior is unacceptable, whether or not that's correct, right? The next thing that you do should not be to spatter out all this advice that was not asked for. So what do you do with all of that energy? What do you do with all of that tension? You're sitting there, you're watching this kid, or you're hearing about this child whose behaviors you may or may not know their behaviors are unacceptable, but you know for sure that the mom feels like the behaviors are unacceptable and they're trying to navigate all of this. What do you do with that energy that's coming at you, right? What do you do with that information?
I can't judge them. And I can't give them unwanted advice. What do I do? Do I just stay quiet knowing that they need help?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So now would be the perfect time for you to perfect these 2 phrases. Are you ready? Phrase number 1 is, what do you need? What do you need? And you're not saying this in a judgy tone. You're saying this in all sincerity. What do you need? I like what do you need better than how can I help you, because how can I help you? I know for me and a lot of parents who have children who have anger issues, or especially if they're parents who are very I don't want to say independent, but they have trouble asking for help. You asking them, how can I help you, is like, I don't know how you can help me. It's just me here, or just me and my husband here. I don't know how you can help. They don't know, right? They don't know what they don't know. So I like, what do you need? because that leaves a little bit more room, right? How can I help kind of sounds like you're talking about how can I help with your kid? Well, you can't really, he's mine, I have to deal with this, what do you need focuses on the mom, it takes the energy and the space away from all that negative behavior, and you're just saying, hey, I'm here as a friend, what do you need? Like, what do you need from me? What do you need me to do? Is there anything that I can do, And then you guys can have a conversation from there. So that's phrase number one. Phrase number two. I like phrase number two for several reasons, and I'll tell you why after I tell you what the phrase is. Phrase two is, would you like to know what I did? Would you like to know what I did? Here's why I love this phrase so much. I love this phrase for a lot of reasons, but two main reasons. Would you know what I did says to the mom, listen, I'm not here to judge you. I am here to listen to you. And if you would like my advice, I'm here to give it to you, right? If that's something that you need. See how this is working hand in hand? What do you need? You don't know what you need. Okay, well, would you like to know what I did? If you need advice, you're leaving that door open for them to say, I would like advice, without saying,
blah, 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 here's my advice, take it.
Would you like to know what I did? So that's the first reason why I like that phrase. The second reason why I like that phrase is because you can't say it if you have not had the experience of having a child who has had behavior issues. You can't say it. So that means if you don't have a child who has behavior issues, you don't get to use that phrase. You don't get to use that phrase because it's not coming from your own personal experience. When a person is dealing with someone who has behavior issues or is having really intense emotions, or a child who has really, really intense behaviors, the last thing, let me tell you, I've worked with a lot of parents, okay? The last thing that they want to do, they will do it if they have to, but the last thing that they want to do is take advice from someone who does not have experience working with children who have behavior issues, the experience in the education, or take advice from someone who doesn't have a child who is going through the behaviors, because you don't know what the experience is like. You don't know what the experience is like. I would even venture to say, if you have a child who has not just anger issues, but behaviors or a situation where they need a lot of extra support, even then is okay to use that phrase because of what we're going to talk about next. So I've given you the 3 ways to support a mom, a friend, a parent who has a child who is dealing with anger management issues. Remembering that the first way is to remember that anger is a secondary emotion, and just to remove all that negative energy surrounding what you see as anger. Number 2 being to leave all the judgment at home. And if you can't, remove yourself. Number 3 is to X all the unwanted advice and to practice using those 2 phrases that we talked about. What do you need? And would you like to know what I did? So now that you have those ways to support them, here is a way that you can practically support them. So what you do instead of judging, of giving unwanted advice and placing all of your negative energy around those angry emotions that you're witnessing or hearing about, is offer something to them. So there are 2 things that I like to offer a parent who is, we'll say, in distress. The first thing that I like to offer is time. This is not for the faint of heart. I will admit, right? But especially if you're close to this person, right? A teacher's probably not going to do this. But especially if you're close to this person and this person is in your life, right? It's a family member. It's a really good friend. One of the best things you can offer is time, because I guarantee you that this mom is stressed the hell out, okay? She's stressed out, okay? She's anxious, she's tense, and sometimes all they need or want is an hour. Can you believe that? Just an hour. Sometimes all they want is just an hour to lift the pressure, to rejuvenate themselves, to just have quiet, right? Because they're dealing with that all day, especially now in these times where most of the kids are not in school. They're home with each other, butting heads, trying to figure out how to navigate each other 24 hours a day. They need time, just an hour. So offer time. Say, hey, next week on Tuesday, I'm not doing anything, or I have a gap in my schedule. I'll come and get the kids, right? If they have more than one kid, then offer to get that kid. Offer to get the child that's causing the most stress. I'll come and get Buddy, and I'll keep him for an hour, maybe take him for some lunch, get some ice cream or whatever, and I'll bring him back so you can have a little bit of a break. Most moms aren't going to know how to ask for that, especially if they're used to being the ones that handle everything, because that's what we do. We tend to handle everything. We're the glue. You know, we're the glue. And so it's hard sometimes for us moms to ask for help. So offering time. Hey,
I'm gonna come get Buddy next Tuesday. If you guys don't have anything planned, I'm free, you know, in the morning, so I can come get him for an hour or two, and you can just have a little bit of time.
Watch her light up, right? There might be some anxiety about sending her child with someone, not knowing how the child is going to respond, but here's something that most people don't know. That child wants a break too. They don't want to be behaving the way that they're behaving. They just don't understand all the time what's happening within their bodies. And this is the option that they chose, right? So they want a break too, man. They need a break from each other. So offer time. It's one of the best gifts that you can give them. And the last one that I like to offer, and this goes hand in hand with the unwanted advice. The reason why you can't use that phrase if you don't have the experience of working with a child or parenting a child who has behavior issues is because if you have the experience of having a child with anger management issues, or really any kind of situation that requires your child to have extra support, you have resources. So offer trusted resources, right? So if you don't have that experience, or then it's going to be difficult for you to say, hey, there's this doctor that I know, or there's this program that I know of that could be really useful for you if you want the information, or I heard about this program, or offer trusted resources, trusted sources, trusted help, so that they don't feel lost and alone in it. And even if they're getting support through a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and you don't have the experience of working with a child, look up some programs, look up things, in your free time. You don't have to spend your life doing it, right? But just take a couple of minutes a day and look up some programs for children that are exhibiting the types of behavior that your friend or your parent is exhibiting, and then say, hey, I found this. Either I don't know much about it, or I looked a lot into it and it looks like it would be a great program for your child. Maybe you can try this, Those are the two things that really can help support a parent, a mom who's dealing with a child who is having some struggles with behavior, and specifically anger in this case. And the key here is to offer these things without judgment, or without attempting to parent their child. That's not your job. It's not your job, and it just makes them feel inadequate. So these are the ways that you can help support your friend, the mom in your life, the parent in your life. And I hope that this will help you. I hope that this is advice that you can take into the world and really put into good use when you come in contact with a mom who you might see on the street who's having difficulty with their child, or with a mom in your life right now who might be having difficulty with their child. And if you'd like, you can always come and visit us at www.onecalmkid.com. We have programs to help children with anger management issues, as you guys know. You can visit us there to find out more about our programs. I'll put the link down in the description box for you guys. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Come back and see us again, and I will see you next time. Bye.